Hello and welcome to Sobrix. I'm Adam and this is Sobrix. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the new Lego Technic off-road race buggy set. This is set number 42164. It has 219 pieces and I paid $20 for this set. This is one of the new Technic sets for 2024. And I already looked at the recycling truck, which I really liked. And Technic, as I always say, but maybe I should stop saying it. You know, I don't do as many Technic as I do brick built stuff. There is some crossover, but I have enjoyed a lot of the Technic stuff I've done. Like I looked at, I think all or almost all of the Monster Jam vehicles and like their alternate builds, and then some of the next step up, as I sort of say, to the like $50 cars of the Bolide and the Huracan and the Jeep Wrangler, and I've looked at some of the even bigger ones like the Peugeot and stuff like that. I haven't looked, and the McLaren F1 car. I haven't gone up to like the Cian or some of the Ferraris or stuff like that, but I hope to soon. But some of those very big, like UCS style, I think 1/8 scale or something, but I haven't looked at any of those exactly. But either way, this is a non-licensed kind of thing, and it's an off-road race buggy. I believe there was a Creator 3-in-1 set that was like an off-road buggy that I did not too long ago, but this seemed to be kind of interesting here with some interesting functions. Would have loved if this was a 2-in-1 that sometimes Technic does, but alas, I don't think it is. So either way, in this video, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So while I build, I will speed the video up, and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so while we look at the build for this Lego Technic off-road race buggy, I wanted to say thanks for watching, and then remind you, if you like this video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. So we start out building kind of the only real gear change that's in this set, and it just uses those kind of tapered gears, two of them, a bigger one and a smaller one. There is kind of a engine functionality here that you can kind of already see if you're familiar with other Technic vehicles. It's very similar to that, how like the pistons or cylinders or whatever fire and the mechanism that makes that happen. And then we build some kind of other stuff here that I didn't really know where this was going at first. You add kind of a spoiler or a fin on the back, you add like an exhaust, but I didn't know what the spring piece was at initially. And then we go into the second part of pieces, and there's actually two instruction booklets in this set, and they kind of just, you build half the car with the first instruction and the first bags of pieces, and then you build the other half of the car with the second bag of pieces, and you kind of just fit them together, which is actually really satisfying and really cool, but really surprised me as well. Here we're working on putting together some of the steering mechanism, and I talk about how that works in the full review. And the build process of this was a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be, and I have some experience with Technic, but not a ton, but it was super enjoyable, not too difficult, not too intricate, but very cool. I think it looks pretty good. I don't love all the stickers, especially these ones. Putting it on the seat pieces is kind of my least favorite part, but then the rest of this was pretty fun. I think it's a good toy, and I liked the build a lot. So that's kind of it for the build, and now on to my review for this set. Okay, so here we have the Lego Technic off-road race buggy set. This was a pretty interesting build. If you saw my video for the Mack LR electric garbage truck or whatever, which is kind of one of the Technic sets that I've done in recent memory, or in very recent times. So it's been a little while between the last involved Technic set and then that one, and now this one. This is very different from the Mac build. One of the things I like about Technic is the order of operations. To me, appears to be like more important than some other Lego sets. I mean, even for brick system stuff, it seems like the order is pretty important, but just the functionality of how things work in here, and the way that the pins and beams sort of work together, it necessitates you kind of having to build around one side, put things in the middle, and then close it up on the other side. So the build process is very interesting. And this set was also very interesting. It had 2 instruction booklets in it. I used the digital instructions, but it had 2 instruction booklets in it, and it's actually divided up kind of nicely. Like the first instruction booklets for the first bag of pieces, second instruction booklet is for the second bag of pieces, and you start out by building all of the bit at the back here, which is like the engine and the exhaust and some other stuff here. And it's going to be hard to talk about this, pointing out all the different things, because there's so many like functions and different things going on kind of simultaneously here. But you start out building this back contraption, and you can see here we have kind of the exhausts, not on the other side. We do have the spring here. This is kind of where the center of a lot of the functionality comes in. So there's some really interesting building techniques here. It's a lot of stuff is on like this center axis, and that works really well. And that starts back here. There is a gear. It's connected to one of the wheels, not both of them. So this one over here doesn't engage this kind of gear change here, but this one does. It fires these bits down here, and then those bump up against those kind of pins there coming through. So that's sort of the engine there. If it's a, whatever, I don't know cars that well, 4-cylinder or something, the pistons or whatever is going on in the engine are firing as this wheel turns there. I thought the way that they got certain angles to play with each other here was really interesting. So like the piece that is above the engine that has the spring there to connect to the piece that has the exhaust here, and how that connects to get an angle so a piece can go through. You can kind of see this line here. So behind the spring, you can see that pin or axle in there, and that goes through all the way to what holds these seats together. So that's a pretty main kind of channel of this, and there's a lot of stuff that happens around there. So one of the things, besides kind of the engine, this has like suspension. When they have the spring here, it has some suspension at the back, so these back wheels can kind of move as if they were on something rocky there, like that. And then there's also steering here, but not steering in like hand of God steering necessarily, but it leans. So we can look at the front here, and there's some steering. And then also, because we're on this axis, we can turn the vehicle. So these axles can be going different ways altogether. So there's a lot of movement, a lot of play in here actually. Whoops, popped off the beam at the back there, but there's a lot of play, a lot of movement in the back, so it really feels like it could handle being off-road, going over rocks, bumps, unsteady things. So how this turns is by leaning. You lean the car kind of toward the way you want to turn, and it will turn that way. So a big part of this kind of rocking back and forth is, and this kind of rotation at the back there is so that the car has some steering and some turning there. So a lot of stuff takes place back here. So when this leans that way, it brings this side of the vehicle down a little bit, and it pulls the steering in closer to make the turn, and same for the other side. So that's really cool. I think the leaning is cool, even without the steering, with the steering adds a lot to it. And then, like we had at the back, this kind of line through here that was going through a bunch of different pieces, actually starting just behind, or like in between the seats. You can see just that yellow axle there, and that continues in a spot kind of behind all of this. So there's another kind of center point there, and it actually goes to right here all the way through there. So those are the kind of axes that this is rotating on, which is really nice. It kind of brings everything together in a really great way. So we have the suspension at the back, which also plays into the steering a little bit, not like directly. Steering doesn't automatically engage the spring very much. I think it does like a little bit, but not nearly as much as room as you have to play with the suspension. And then the steering is engaged by that as well. And then we have the engine functionality back there. So that's really, really cool. There's also something that I noted on the back of the box, or in some of the official images. Apparently this, I don't know if it's supposed to be doors or something, but these can move, and there's kind of a axle back here that's stopping them from moving too far one way or the other way. They don't just spin around. So I don't know if those are supposed to be doors, or if it's something just as for aesthetics or design, but that is cool as well. But it kind of makes sense. It could be door panels or something to get in there. I don't know if this kind of buggy car would typically have doors or whatever, but that's something that was noted. So I feel, even though I don't know what it is, I feel like it's important to point that out. So besides all the functions, we can see a lot of gray, dark bluish gray, light bluish gray, but we also have this really nice blue, and then this kind of vibrant, almost high visibility yellow there, and there's a few pops of that, which works really well. I think it's a smart design for Lego to use these colors, because for my colorblind eyes, one of the issues of certain sets is the pins and the axles and all this stuff have weird colors, but the blue pins don't really stick out here, and the yellow pins don't really stick out when you have a yellow accented kind of vehicle there. And then the gray and the black pins, those don't stick out too much either, because a lot of the beams are that color and some of the other stuff. So really nice choice. Maybe it's lazy, maybe not. I think it's a smart choice to do that, and it actually makes it feel really cohesive, and some of those pins and different things aren't sticking out visually so much, which I know some people, me included, sometimes have an issue with. There is a little bit of red in there, and that's probably one of very few instances where there's red. There's another red kind of stud pin behind the door area there, but not too much else. So I think the color choices and color blocking is really nice. There are stickers in this set. They're not licensed or anything, but there is still stickers, so I will point those out. First, at the back here, we have these nice interesting pieces for this kind of spoiler fin at the back. So it has the number 12 there, kind of a nice like hexagonal kind of pattern and a gradient in the color. Other side is just kind of a mirror image of that with the hexagonal pattern, the number 12, and the kind of gradient there. So there's that. This one here, kind of in the middle, says like Bitbox or something, and it has a similar kind of these triangle or pointing things there. On the seats, we have like some seat belts over the shoulder, or I don't know if it's technically like how many points of connection or whatever, however they judge different seat belts and safety things, but you have both of those, those are nice stickers. I don't like putting those on that piece that's often used for seats in these kind of Technic sets. It's just a difficult place for me to apply stickers. It's not, these turned out okay, so that's fine. We have three stickers up here rather on these kind of vibrant yellow pieces, again following that same kind of like gradient through there, that same kind of pointed arrow type thing. It says Buggy here, it says 12 here again, and I actually really like how these kind of flow together, which is really nice. And then on the side, which on those like maybe door panels or whatever, there's some stickers there. And then the last two are on the front wheels, and hopefully I did these correctly. So these also have a gradient, a hexagon, the points, and they're only on like a quarter of that rim in there, and same on the other side. Now none of these axles are actually connected with each other, so this wheel spins independently of the other wheel. The front wheels are independent of each other, and the rear wheels are independent of each other. So the opportunity or the necessity that one might have to make sure that in relation to like the axle kind of cross here, what portion of the tire this would be on, and have the other side reflect that, it's less crucial because they're just kind of independent tires. If they were connected, it might be more important to kind of make sure you get those right, so the stickers are actually rotating at the in the same way, so there's some symmetry there. But they kind of avoid that by having a separate axle up here, which does allow for the kind of steering that this has. So not a huge bummer there, but there are stickers on there. As far as like stickers versus prints or anything like that, Technic sets, I can't remember. I can probably count on my hand the number of times I've seen printed pieces in Technic sets, especially stuff like this. So it's just not that big of a deal. There's not that many of them, frankly. There's 2 number 1, which are on the seats, and then it just goes up to 11. So there's not that many stickers, but they add some good detail, and the styling of them is nice, and it actually kind of elevates the kind of highlights, but this sort of design of having just like a very bright yellow panel piece kind of covered up with the majority of a sticker that matches the other colors in this build. It makes that yellow really feel like an accent instead of like too much of an overarching thing. So I do really, really like how the stickers were used here. Overall, I think the functions are really, really good, really fun. Would have been great if this also had some like pullback functionality, but that might be a little bit to ask for. I don't know if there's a way to combine the pullback functionality with this kind of engine stuff back here, with the shocks here, with the way that this leans to, or the suspension back there, or the way this leans to steer. But maybe there is, so that would have knocked it up the next level. But this was a fun build. It was interesting. It was kind of unique how you built kind of the back part and then built the front part, and then you kind of connect them together, and it turns out really looking like a vehicle here of this off-road race buggy. So that's really pretty cool. I'll show the extra pieces here because you do get some your pins of different kinds with either like studs or the bigger kind of thing there, translucent pieces for the tiles for the lights here, and there's also these cheese wedges which are used at an interesting spot kind of on the engine. So they're used right here on these axles, and frankly I don't know what those are supposed to be. I don't think they don't really, I'm not sure what they're supposed to be. They're on these kind of pieces that could fit around a minifigure neck and then have a stud on the back. And you don't get an extra one of those, so I can't really show it. But if you know what I'm talking about, you'll know what I'm talking about. So those were used back there. If you know what those are supposed to be, let me know. And same for stuff over here. And if you have any other comments about this, please, don't hesitate to leave a comment. I love reading them, so I appreciate that a lot. So those are the extra pieces. This set is 219 pieces, and it's $20. I think that's about right. Size-wise, it seems... maybe it's a little expensive, actually. Size-wise, it does seem similar to some of the Monster Jams, but the Monster Jams did have the pullback functionality, and they didn't have some of the other functionality that this buggy has, but They also were 2-in-1s and other stuff like that. And those I think retailed for $20, but you could pretty reliably get them on sale. I think for a lot of those I paid around $14, $15, $16 for. This is a set that I would anticipate would go on sale eventually for a similar discount, 20, 30, 40% off. And I think maybe this would have been better at a $15 price, but $20 seems to be a close enough. $17 if they want to start, if they want to do kind of some weird pricing, it probably would have been better. $20 didn't feel terrible to me, but now thinking about it, just how many pieces are pins or different pieces that they make billions of, I could see an argument for why this should be even cheaper than $20. As far as like what I have here, it feels pretty good. And the build experience was very fun, and I think this is a great toy actually for people to use, and I think it could very easily roll over all sorts of different stuff and could potentially be used out in the wild as well. So I think it's a good toy. $20 isn't a bad price. It's not horrible. It's not like egregiously overpriced. It's fine. It's maybe slightly overpriced or about right. So I didn't have an issue, with the price when I got it, and I still feel okay about it. So as far as value goes, I think it's a pretty fun set here. So very interesting build, a lot of good stuff, and a lot of cool functions here. So if you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the Lego videos I'll be doing here in the future, including more Lego Technic for 2024, maybe some old Technic sets, maybe tons of different stuff, but also other Lego brick system sets from all different themes, all different shape, size, price point, piece count, tons of different sets, old, new, all that stuff. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And if you want to support this channel, you can do that right here on YouTube with membership, supers, and thanks, and all of that lovely stuff. Helps me a lot, so I appreciate it. And I still have the Patreon. It's in the video description, and it's linked on my channel page, patreon.com/sobricks. And there's some exclusive stuff and other stuff in the works for members and patrons and different things like that. So again, every little bit helps, and it is appreciated, so thank you. But I do just really love talking Lego, building Lego, and all that stuff. So I'm just very pleased to be able to share that with anybody who watches. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, all of that lovely stuff. I really, really appreciate it. So with all that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.